We'll just wait before we get started, just see if anybody joins in. Also switch off my little stream there. There we go. Turn that off. And so this stream is a little bit different. I got myself a new toy. In fact, I got myself the Novation circuit. Here it is. And what we can see is I've got quite a complicated setup going on. So I've got on this monitor over here, I've got the user manual because I know nothing about this device. I will confess, I've had it switched on and I've had some noises out of it, simply because I've needed to connect it into all of my audio workstation and everything else that I'm doing, and I need to make sure it works. I've also had to reconfigure OBS to make sure that works too, because I'm using several different input sources for audio. So this is the Novation circuit, and it's like an electronic dance music machine. It's got synthesizers built into it, and it allows you to sort of place layers on top of layers, and you can play with the synths and drum patterns, and it's all very meant to be quite intuitive to use. But at the same time, you can connect it to your computer. You can use it as a MIDI surface, but you can also really delve in if you've got the computer software. Maybe we'll have a look at that later on. We'll see how it goes. So I just want to make sure I've got any viewers at all, simply because I don't know if my audio levels are good. So let me know if you're in the chat. If not, I'm going to switch it on and see what happens. So it's currently off, and there's a power button at the top here, so I'll switch it on. There we go. So you'll see I've got a sophisticated camera set up as well today. I've got my usual webcam, that one, and I've got a little action camera, and this cost me £25 British from Amazon. It's really quite nice. You can use it as a webcam. So I've set that up to look at the device and to see what I'm doing with the device. And so as you can see, we've got a whole bunch of different features on here. Now, I barely know what any of them do. Like I say, I've had a brief look just to see if it powers up and does it work with my audio setup. I'm not particularly musical. I'm not particularly sort of electronic dance musical, but I was hoping maybe I could get some nice interesting background sounds. So Tutus is here. No innovation circuit. How do you mean no innovation circuit? Oh, it's not playing at the moment. If that's what you mean in terms of audio levels, yes, it's not playing at the moment. Well, it comes with some built-in demo ones, so let's turn one of those on. So I know that I need to press the sessions button, and what we can see here is these brighter elements. These are apparently built-in sessions, and you can choose which one you want to play by pressing the appropriate key. And so, well, let's just press play. Let's see what happens. So I've picked the first. This is one of the demos that's built into the unit. It's a nice unit, by the way. It's potentially battery powered, and it's also got a speaker built into it, but I don't think I'll ever use that. So I've connected it through to my mixing desk over there, and we'll see what it goes. Magetsub, hello. Can Mario have your toy? Right, so what I'm going to do is, and the nice thing is, whilst I'm using this, I'm actually looking at the chat directly, which is really nice. So I'll be up to date tonight. So this could be awful. It could also be very loud. Let's just see how it goes. So I hope you guys can hear it. Yes, can you hear me on top of it? So, because I'll probably be talking. Good. So this is built-in session 1. I might just turn it down. Oh, you can hear me too. Good. Right. Good, because I can't hear myself. I'm just going to turn my headphones down a little bit. There we go. That's a bit better. Oh, hey, George. So that's the first session. I believe what we can do is you can specify the drum pattern, so we can see sort of the drum sequencer panning across the the matrix. if that's the best word. So this will be, as I've briefly read and looked at a quick YouTube video, what's going on here. So these top 2 rows are drum 1, and these bottom 2 rows are drum 2. And we'll have a go at sequencing that ourselves later. And this is the second set of drums, so these are things like hi-hats and claps and cymbals, etc. And the same thing applies. So everything seems to happen in 16ths. Then there's the opportunity to also specify a pattern. So you can see the pattern moving along the bottom here. And these are the notes that are being played through the synthesizer at that time. And we've got 2 synthesizers, that's Synth 1 and Synth 2. Now, the demos that are built into it I think are quite simple. You store the patterns into pattern banks, and you can see it going through the banks. Now, maybe you can't see it. You'll see certain cells oscillating in this matrix. So that's okay. So let's have a listen to. We'll just listen to some of the sessions. I don't think there'll be much music theory in tonight's stream. Okay, so let's try a different session. So I'll move it to the next one. So that's quite different. Everything should sort of auto-quantize. So I guess sessions are like songs, and I think if we scroll the user manual a bit, the user manual is quite extensive. Making sure I'm not dropping any frames with all of this activity going on. So I'll leave that there. Yes, so all of the keys, they're all touch sensitive. Just figure it out yourself. Hey Fisk, how you doing? Trying something different tonight. Okay, well we might come back to the manual later on. If what we want to do is just hack at it and see what happens, then that's what we'll do. So let's choose a different session. That one's a bit uninspired, I think. Right. Now I think whilst it's playing something back, I can interact with stuff. So if I go to Synth 1, I think I can start to change the properties of the synthesizer that's playing. There's a big knob here which is filter. Let's try the next session along. My special cup. This one's a bit aggressive for me. I'll listen to the next one. So all of these is like a built-in synth patches that it's got, but I can download anything to this. That's a bit too aggressive for my taste, so we'll try the next one. You see, what I want to try and get out of this is sort of just some ambient sounds, potentially that I can then put my guitar over. Well, I'm glad that the little camera is working. If George, if you're still there, that's actually our little camera. There's lots of interesting. I guess it's also you've got to consider a bit of a live performance instrument, and I think we'll probably discover something. That one's pretty hardcore. Hey Joe Ducks, not a coding stream again. Playing with a new toy. So this one's obviously got lots of side chaining in, and it gives you 2 buttons just to handle side chaining. I guess it knows its target audience. Let's go to the next one. That's a bit more chilled. So can I go in and start fiddling with things? I think because these are automated presets, any changes I make aren't persistent. Oh yeah, there we go. So I don't know what any of the knobs do. The knobs do different things depending on what screen you're on and what you can currently see. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of sidechaining either. Hey, Danny Cron. Right, so, where were we up to? Let's try the next one. So I know there's a button here that says tempo, so I guess I can slow things down, so that's 150. That's a bit more like what I prefer. How fast does it go? Mental fast. How slow does it go? Now, one of the things you can do is, we'll probably start playing with it a bit later, is you can record layers. So whilst something's playing in the background, you can be doing sort of the next thing. But you can also record sort of all the movements of the knobs and everything. I guess to the people that understand DAWs, it's exactly the same as any kind of automation. I'm just catching up with the chat. Yeah, we've not got singing Bidoofs on here. That one's a bit aggressive. I guess they ran out of ideas themselves as they got towards the end. See, I don't know what genre of music some of these are. I don't think we'll get classic rock. It's bad genre, yeah. Okay, anyway, what we'll do is we'll stop that. And I guess the dimmer ones are sessions that we need to occupy. So I guess that's blank. Nothing is happening. So I press play. Yeah, that makes sense. So let's start very simply. So I guess I want to find a drum sound. So this will be the pattern for the drum. So the top two rows are drum 1 and the bottom two rows are drum 2. So let's find a drum sound that we like. So there we go. So that's currently the drum. And they're velocity sensitive, which is quite nice. Let's turn my headphones up a bit now. Ooh. Well, that's a fairly solid thump, so we'll have that as our kick drum. So that's cymbals and things. So I guess they're for the other two drums. So what did we like? That one. We'll have that. Now, you can tweak the drums. So I can change the pitch. Don't really know what that one's doing. Don't really know what that one's doing. Oh. Okay, that seems to be like a sustain, I guess. Oh, nice, okay. Right, so don't know what that one's doing. And that one seems to be like a filter of some sort. I don't know. Okay, so let's... What was it? Which was the nice one? That one. So we'll keep it as a bit of a solid thump, something a bit classic. So that's going to be our drum 1. So if I go press the drum 1 thing, I can go in and then put in some beats. So if I press play, so we can see this is the pattern sequencer doing its thing now. Play me some of that jumping music. Some of the hippity hop. Right. So there we go. Put a beat in. Now I guess this is 4 bars split into 4 here. So I guess everything's kind of geared towards 4. Okay. Now, we haven't chosen a drum 2 yet. So I guess if we wanted sort of... So, that's a bit bouncy. I don't like that. Okay. Right, so I've got some sort of drum sequence going on in the background. So I guess I'll just stop that for a minute, and then we'll look at the synth. So that was where it got up to in the pattern, I think. Now, so it depends what kind of patch you've got in. So now you'll notice there's no real piano keys here. These are fixed into, well, from what I understand, 2 octaves fitted to a particular scale. Now there's a scales button, so if I press that, now I can see what looks roughly like piano keys. Now I don't know which scale is going to be which, but I think you can specify a particular scale. So well, let's just try that. So we'll stick with the default scale there. So this was, let's just start. So that was the first scale. We'll pick a different one. Right, so that's just a major scale. Not quite sure what that one is. So I think let's just keep it in a simple scale for now. So I don't know what effect this is. I don't know what patch it is. So if I hold that down, let's twiddle some knobs. So I'll play this note. Okay, so that's adding like a Leslie reverberator to it. That's how I'd describe it anyway. Or LFO, I suppose. I'll try and do things with this hand so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so that's, I guess, is PWM. No, I don't think this is... Well, it might be used for 8-bit games. I really don't know what I guess the synthesizer is quite simple. So what's this knob doing? Don't know what that one's doing. Oh, that's like an attack, so... Okay. Oh, this one's getting good. So I don't know. That's like a. Don't know how to describe that one. It's like a ring modulator. So this is where I need Magetsup to tell me what everything is. So that's noise. We're adding noise into it there. Making this sound dreadful. Now that's I think that's phaser. Could be flange, don't know. Yeah, phaser's nice. So let's take off some of the... That one. Now this one seems to be monophonic. Now not all the patches are monophonic. So I can't play chords with this one. So I hold it down. Take some of that phase off. So I've got my beat. And it sent my subwoofer going nuts then. Okay, so that's one of the synths. Let's see what the patches are for some of the synths then. So let's choose that. So what have we got? So I guess that's the one we've been playing with. It's more of a pluck. Now all of these are alterable again. Just make everything... When you crank everything up to sort of max, everything just turns noisy. Oh, that's quite nice. So these are very sort of standard electronic dance synths. Oh, that's quite nice. Maybe we'll try that one. That's that one I liked. Now I'm guessing yeah, so there's actually a whole bunch more. Oh. Right, so I quite like that one. So we'll have that one as synth 1, and we'll have... Oh, it's a different set of patches for synth 2. So if I go into synth 2 now... Now, I think I can program the individual notes by holding the pattern down. And, yeah, so the pattern scrolling at the bottom. I can hold down a pattern and choose a note. Or, let me stop that. I think, yeah, so I hold the clear button. I can delete those. I can do it instead by pressing play and pressing the record. So what was that? So if I press record, it actually plays it as how I sort of made it feel. So it depends on the velocity and the duration I held the notes down for. So let's clear those again. Try that again. So, and it seems to auto quantize what I've put in. Can you set filtering mode? I guess I just have a big knob that says filter on it. Okay, so let's stop the recording. Let's stop that playing. Let's clear those notes down. There possibly is, but I don't know if they're in one of the user manuals or not. So it came with this very small manual which had a page that detailed what all the knobs do for all the different patches. However, if you install you don't install it actually, use it through the browser, you can then go in and edit absolutely every possible variable of the synthesizer. It basically looks like a huge FL Studio explosion all over the screen. I've not tried that. I've not been there. I've not connected it to a USB port yet, so I'm not quite sure. Although we probably might have a look at that once I've run out of inspiration. So we've got a synth. Now, the one thing that we've not worked out is patterns. So basically, I've got these 16 elements to play with, but I've not got anything to move them on. So it'll just be a very repetitive sort of 16 things. Let's see if we can get it to record the automation then. So if I press the record button, did that record the automation? Don't know if it did. Yeah, there we go. Don't know if that's useful or not. Now, let's say you want to tap, I'll stop that for a minute. You want to tap in the notes sort of individually instead of trying to record them live. You've got quite a few different options on what to do here. So on that particular sequence, you can see I've set a note here. So if I press that element in the pattern, it tells you which note I hit. I can then press the velocity key, and I can set velocity, which is how hard did I hit the note. And I can set that across those two rows, so it's like a linear scale. And I can also decide how long the note holds for, I think. It might not because I've recorded something. Let me go to clear. Let's clear that one out. So let's put in an artificial note. So let's just play that. Yeah, so the only information it's got is that that event has occurred. And so what we want to do is specify for this one, try and make it longer. So I think that's gate. So you can see the gate, when it pops up, is only one long. There we go. So that's now increased the duration of the event. And likewise with velocity, you can see that's how hard it was hit. So I hold that down. So that's sort of maximum velocity. Or, yes, it's a bit softer. Might not necessarily apply to this particular patch, that. Because it's got a very slow attack anyway, we might not be able to work it out. We go to Synth 2. That sounds awful, I don't know what scale we've got there. So let's pick scale with something interesting. I think there's deliberate detune in that note, isn't there? Yeah, okay, that's why that's sounding awful. So let's choose a different patch for that one. Let's try that one. Right there. And because you've specified a scale, really you can play anything, it's not going to sound too bad. Because you can't really hit the wrong note, everything's tied into a note on that particular scale. So that's why I think it's important to choose a scale that works for the mood you're going for. So let's have a look. What have we got so far? So let's try and record that. Okay, let's just try and tone that down a bit. Oh yes, so there are effects as well. So we'll get there. So I think what I can do now is we've got a very simple, quite loud and annoying pattern. So I was wondering if we can find something a bit nicer. Well, what I'll do is I'll go to the mixer, and so this is the mixing desk. So turned off synth 1. Can bring the volume down of synth 2. But I can also, I'd say, if when you're doing live sort of stuff, you can now disable individual tracks. Right, so let's have a think about the effects then. So, let's just stop that for a minute. What do we want to do for effects? I'll press the effects button. Now, from what I understand, the effects, these top two rows are delay-based effects, and this bottom row is reverb-based effects. And I think that enables and disables effects. So what I think we might want to do, just to understand if we can hear the difference of the effects, is I'll go to the mixer and I'll disable those and just keep our drums going. So let's go to effects, and I guess it's on those now, which I presume means don't do anything. Don't know if that's made any difference at all. Don't think that's made any difference at all. So I don't know what track I'm applying the effects to. We might have to look at that. Oh. It's like red alert. Okay, so all of the knobs at the top looks like they tweak various parameters of the effects as well. Let's turn that one off. Don't think they're doing anything. Let's choose a different one. So that's definitely reverb. Okay, so we've got some effects being applied there. So that's without the effects, and you can see it's got the two effects that I've chosen. Now, I think that probably is going to apply it to everything. So if I go back to patterns, mixer, and enable the others. Oh, we didn't do any hi-hats yet, did we, sir? So I want to make a change to synth 2. Sidechain. Yeah, sidechaining is sort of an effect I'm not that keen on. So I think we're getting to the point where we want to add another pattern. Ah, Tutus. Background noise. Keep it up. Just as I stop it to look at the alert. Right, so I think that second one is getting a bit annoying. It's like a harmonica sound. Let's try changing it to that then. So, if I start the play, so what was that? So we'll turn off the bass sound as well, so one step at a time. Turn that off on the mixer. Go to Synth 2. So that's what's currently playing. So I'm going to clear that and press record. You see, my pattern's not long enough. So I think that's why I need a second pattern now. So we'll stop that, because that was awful. Get rid of all of the mistakes we made. So in this one sort of set of 16ths, I've only got that much time. So let's try that. Right, so now I want a second pattern for that synth. So let's go to patterns. So I'm guessing if I go into that one, so that's the second pattern along. So the first one was this one, and that's the second one, which I guess now if I press play is blank. Good. So if I press the synth 2 button, kind of want what we had first. So we want to do the opposite. Press record. Right, so if I go back to patterns, now obviously I don't want to sit here choosing the individual patterns. So I think, hang on, let me see. I think there was a way of, you can now sequence the patterns. Can I click on some of these links? Patterns, patterns, patterns. Changing patterns. Chaining patterns, they say. Once you've created several patterns, you can start to chain them together for a longer sequence. I'm wondering if there's a way I can actually get more than just the very fast sort of 16 beats. There probably is, and probably involve halving the tempo or some other tricks like that. So it says, if you want to chain patterns in memories 3 to 6 together, hold down pad 3 and then press pad 6. So if I hold down 1 and press 2, does that mean that those two go together? Yeah. So I'll go back to the mixer. Let's bring in our... Let's go back to note 2. Slow it all down. Now I guess this particular synth is sort of I guess it's polyphonic, so Yeah. I think the drums are perhaps a little bit aggressive. But it's quite nice then as a live tool what you can do. In fact, I'm willing to bet I'm currently fighting the notes that I'm already playing. So if I go to pattern, what happens if I now select pattern 3, which is blank? So yeah, so if I now select pattern 1, does it go back into pattern 1 and then 2 again? No, so I need to somehow tell it that's the sequence it needs to do. I'm sure there are more persistent ways of doing this. I don't know what they are. So let's have a look at our drums now, because we've got 2 drum lots that we've got nothing on. So what are the sounds here? If I go to Shift Drum 3. So they're getting all of the effects as well. So they sound like hats, cymbals. We'll just keep that one actually, and this one, drum 4. Oh, drum 4 will be the bottom 2. So let's put. Yeah. Now, of course, the drum sounds are all synthesized as well, so I can mess around with those. So if I go to say, what was this one? This was drum 3. Let's stick with that one then. Ooh. That was that. Ah, yes, drum 3. So drum 3 is a bit aggressive now, so let's turn that down. Mixer, drum 3. Turn that off. So, drum 4. Oh, yeah, okay. So I'm going to take that one out entirely. So I've turned the effects off. So what I might try and do is find a load of patches that sound particularly 8-bit. I'll go back to the mixer. Now, I don't know what the nudge and length buttons do, so let's have a look at what they do. I'll stop that. Let's go to patterns. It says pattern above them, so I'm guessing it's something to do with a pattern. So if I select length, okay, maybe we do need to play this. So that says length for drum 3 there. Let's go to. Okay, let's just see what happens. So if I specify. Ah, so it's actually. Oh, so that's causing drum 3 now to go. Oh, this is confusing. So that's kind of going off beat now because I've deliberately restricted the length of that pattern. So I guess I can just get it to bounce back. We're almost playing Tetris here. Oh, so that's quite useful. So if you want to store, you can store various bits. So nudge. So there's our pattern. So I'll hold the nudge button down. We've got 2 blue squares have popped up. Press that first one. Oh, so that's nudging everything. That's scrolling everything that way. Okay, so if you want to sort of... Okay. Now, I've not got a different beat for drum 2. So let's have a look at Synth 1 then. This go into note mode. So we've just got a simple note there. But let's go into a different pattern then for Synth 1. So we're going. Try and record that. Just increase the tempo just a tad. Okay, so let's chain those together. It's kept all of the synth settings on that first one, so it is, even though it's the same fundamental patch underneath, we've modified it for the first one, and that's what it's recorded because we changed the automation. Let's go to our mixer. Let's have another pattern then for our Synth 2 now. So we've currently got, what have we currently got? We've got, yeah. Let's record that as pattern 3 then. So we're going. So I think that's going to be too long, yeah. That one I want to be a slightly longer pattern, but I don't know if we're going to have enough space. go back to the pattern mixer now. Turn the record off. So I guess once we've gone out of 2, we want to go to 3. Yeah, I don't know how to make them play along. 2, 3. Well, I don't think it's going to be a top 10 hit by any means, but it's not too. Yeah, it's starting to come together. Again, I have no familiarity with the tools. I have no idea what the patch is. It's really what I like about it is how tactile it is. I don't like trying to create music with a keyboard and a mouse. I mean, like a typing keyboard. I prefer my guitar. I prefer things with knobs and twiddly things on and buttons that I can press. And the fact that it seems reasonably quick, I suppose once I get used to it, once I get used to how it works, I'll probably start doing some quite intricate live performance with it. But really, what I'm after is something I can quickly set up a repetitive backing track that I can then play my guitar on top of. And I'll have to get a little bit more creative with drums, I think, because I'm not particularly good at laying out drum tracks. Put the effects back in. So I don't really understand how the effects work yet. We've not really sussed that one. So I think that's delay. It sounds like a lot of delay. Yeah, so that's a much shorter delay going on. I think what's happening here? Are these knobs doing something individual to the effect, or are they choosing the instrument that is lined up with it? I really don't know. I'll have to read the manual on that one. So we've got a swing button, so I guess we can alter, make it feel a bit more shuffly. Let's go back to our drum pattern 1. So our most basic drum is that. Just play that pattern. Now that's a good point. So now we've got 2 different synth sections. Does that change when I... Oh yeah, so we can see that the second pattern comes up, goes back to the first. So I don't think I like this wow bit anymore, so we'll adjust that. Pattern 1. So that pattern was that. So we'll get rid of that. Clear U. And we'll get rid of the automation. So what I'm going to try is, I want the same bass line that I've got for the other. So if I go to patterns, select that pattern. If I press duplicate, hold down duplicate. Maybe I've got to press that. That's the one I want to duplicate. Go there. Oh yeah, so it's copied it over. Let's go back into this. So that should be the same for both patterns. Let's just switch you off. So we'll have that. So I need to clear out the notes that I'm not using. Seem to be doing that one backwards. Let's undo that. Right, so let's go back to the patterns now and put that back in. It's got the... I was off beat then, wasn't I, when I put that first one in. So let's edit that pattern again. So it's those two notes that are wrong. I wasn't quite at the right place. Let's try that again. So clear those. So I've still got the record button on. Yeah, I've done it again. See, it's because that's where I feel that should be, but then it doesn't work with the next pattern. I've done it again. Rubbish. Well, maybe I can do these ones as manual notes then. We'll get rid of that. So what I want is... Right, so we're going to have you not fast enough. I'll just try recording it. Stop! I'll just record it as I can, then we'll see if we can make the other pattern work. Completely made a mess of things here because I've had the record button held down whilst twiddling all these knobs, so I guess it's just recording all of this crazy automation. Yes, it is. I can see, I don't know if you can on the camera, but these LEDs underneath the knobs change intensity depending on what the knob value was. There you go, Ben. So what I want to do is go back to the original patch there. So I'm going to stop that playing and choose what was it? Yeah, I think it was just that patch, but with no effects, was it? So Try a different one. So I think I can do this live. So if I choose, get a feel for which one each sounds like. So I want those to be a bit longer. Yeah, okay. Side chaining is rubbish. I just don't like that at all. This salt is a metaphorical representation of how much I'm enjoying the stream more than Gorbit. So, what do you think? Do you think it's an interesting amount of noise? Maybe we should have a look at trying to get the software set up. Let's see what happens when we plug it into the computer. So it came with cables, it came with batteries, it came with a power supply. It's, in terms of consumer support, it was all very good. I've got a USB cable here. Let's plug that in. Now, I've not plugged this in before. I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, all sorts of crazy sound coming out of it. Oh, so I don't know if you can hear that. If you can hear that sort of crazy sound that's happening in the background, that's the USB ground level interfering with something else in my setup here. And that's a notorious problem with USB, so I probably wouldn't recommend using that live. You probably can just hear it in the background. Right, so I've plugged that in. I missed if Windows popped anything up to say you're good to go. So it was circuit software. Circuit Synth editor. Have a look. Okay. I agree. Allow to use your MIDI devices. Allow circuit. Ooh. Let's have a look. Yeah, we'll do that one. Okay, so it's got a tutorial. We've made some changes to components. Well, that is irrelevant to me. You can exit this tutorial at any time. Ah, no Nemo. Sorry, I'm missing some of the text here. Check the notifications. Yes, I believe I'm... Gorbit and Tutus are in some sort of bit battle going on. Right, to use circuit, first connect it to your computer using the USB cable, then hold down the scales, notes, velocity buttons and turn circuit on. Okay, so I have to power it down and hold down scale, note, velocity. Velocity, note and scale. So it's those three buttons there. Hold those down and turn it on. Circuit contains three things: sessions, samples and patches. Components contain your packs. Move, add and replace samples. Oh, I'm just clicking next now. Send a whole pack to circuit in one click. Okay, whatever. Update firmware. We'll probably have to do that. I won't do that right now. Done. Keep the defaults. So they were the sessions that were loaded up. Keep the defaults. These are the different samples. Oh yeah, I can hear them. I wonder, just whilst we're doing this, if I just mute that, maybe you guys can't hear that anymore. So that's actually causing the thing to play the note. Patches. Now, I think there's even more sophistication than this. There's another tool which allows you to start setting up all of these patches. But at least now we've got some names to put to them. Thank you, Ralph. So that's what the browser-based software does. And I guess it will also work as a MIDI interface in things like FL Studio and other DAWs. At least now we can see the sessions that were here. Okay, that USB noise is really annoying. I think the problem is I've got it going through about 6 USB hubs before it gets to the device. So I'll sort that out in my own time. But what I think I'll do now is disconnect the USB. Oh, that's so much better. I know you guys can't hear that, but I certainly could. I'll re-enable the sound. And I will start our funky groove again to play us out. So there we go. So that's sort of attempt number 1 tonight. This is what we ended up with. I like the fact that all the noises sound a little bit sort of retro-y, SNES sort of thing. I think once we start putting our own samples on there, we'll try and make it sound a little bit more 8-bit, which will be a lot of fun. So, what do you think, guys? Novation Circuit, fun or not? And thank you for all the bits, by the way. Of course, something has to pay for this device. I think it's pretty cool. Let's just change the tempo on that. So it's quite interesting. So you can go from being Magetsub. So this is Magetsub. To Na-Na. Just by changing the tempo. Right, well, I think that's all. It's only a quick little stream just to show you my new toy. I'm sorry, Magetsub, I didn't do an unboxing video. I know we discussed it last night, but the reason being is I had to make sure it worked with all of this. You don't believe how much I have destroyed my regular recording setup just to facilitate this stream. So, thank you very much, guys. Thank you for all of the bits. There's there's a lot of activity going on, trying to be top of the leader table. I don't know how to work out how many bits I've been sent until I end the stream. I'm not smart enough, but it looks like potentially Gorbit has sent 149, but Tutus has sent 153. I'll have to get one of those bit battle things somewhere on the screen. Anyway, everybody, have a good night. Just a bit of silliness. Take care.